Alright, so as you know, your test is tomorrow, and the review has been posted and we've gone over it. So now I'm going to go over the left side of this worksheet that is posted for today, and then y'all will turn in the right side. So we're just going to go over a couple problems that look like some things that you might see on the test tomorrow. This is not a full comprehensive video going over exactly what's going to be on the test because y'all need to apply yourselves. So this is just going to be going over some of similar problems. So on number 1, it says state if they are inverses. So remember, if f of g of x equals x and g of f of x equals x, then f of x and g of x are inverses. These both have to be true, so it has to be and. So number 1, we have an h of x, which is fine, and an f of x. So we're going to take h of f of x first. So I'm going to take that first function and plug in the second function. So of course on these problems we're going to give you something a little bit harder than what you're going to see on the test. That way you can extend your mind, and then when you're on the test you think, wow, this was really easy. So h is my function -10 plus 4 times x, and for x I'm going to put all of that function f. And this is over 5. So here I've got 4 times all of this that's over 4. So these two are going to cancel each other out. Leaves me with -10 plus 5x plus 10 over 5. -10 plus 10, these two cancel each other out. Now I'm left with 5x over 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. This gives me x. So this first one worked out. Now let's check f of h of x. So with f of x, we have 5x. I'm going to replace x with all of h. -10 plus 4x all over 5. And then plus 10 all over 4. So again, we've got that fraction where the bottom is going to multiply out by the same number, and it's going to cross out. We've got those two canceling each other out, leaving me with -10 plus 4x plus 10 over 4. -10 plus 10, they cancel each other out. We get 4x over 4, which 4 and 4 cancel each other out, which leaves me with just x. So even though we had some funky fractions going on, we had a lot of things that canceled each other out, and we ended up with x and x for both. So on number 1, these two are inverses. Yay. Oops, not number 3, we're doing to the left side. So on not number 2, number 3. Number 3, we've got g of x equals -3x minus 3, and f of x is -1/3 x minus 1. So I'm going to take g of f of x first. Doesn't matter the order because we've got to check both. And if one of them doesn't work, we automatically stop. So in my function g, I'm starting with -3 times x. X is going to be replaced with all of the function f. And then continue on. -3 times 1/3 x minus 1, so I'm going to distribute. I get +1x, so -3 times -1/3 gives me 1. I have the x on there, so I'm going to keep it there. -3 times -1 is a +3, then -3. 3 minus 3 is 0, so I get x. Now let's check f of g of x. So f of x is negative 1/3 times x, which is going to be negative 3x minus 3, and then minus 1. So let's distribute this negative 1/3. Negative 1/3 times negative 3x gives me 1x. Negative 1/3 times negative 3 gives me positive 1. And then minus 1, 1 minus 1, they cancel each other out, we get just x. So on both of these, we end up that they are inverses, since we got them both to equal 0. We got them both to equal x. If either one of them did not equal x, then they would not be inverses. So now let's look at number 5. Find the inverse of each function. So to find the inverse, we have 2 steps. Step 1 is switch x and y. Step 2, solve for y. So on number 5, we're going to switch our x and our y first. So we have the function y equals negative 7x minus 5 over 8. So for step 1, we're going to switch those. We got x equals negative 7y minus 5 over 8. So in order to solve for y, first thing I need to do is get rid of that division. So I'll multiply by 8. We get 8x is equal to negative 7y minus 5. Still need that y by itself, so I'll add 5 to both sides. I get 8x plus 5 equals negative 7y. I still need y by itself. I'm going to divide that coefficient out of there. Remember to keep the sign on it when we divide. We get negative 8 over 7x. Oops, it would be plus a negative, so minus 5 over 7 equals y. Now that I have y by itself, that is my, this is not named f, is it? Nope. That is my inverse. So because it was a g of x, it's going to be g inverse of x is equal to negative 8 over 7x minus 5 over 7. Number 7, we're going to do the same thing. We're finding the inverse. So I'm going to rewrite it as y equals negative x plus 4. Switch x and y. X equals negative y plus 4. I'm solving for y. So x equals negative y plus 4. I'm going to get this constant away by doing the opposite. So 4 minus 4 gives me 0. X minus 4 is equal to negative y. There's a coefficient of negative 1, so I'm going to divide that out. So that leaves me with negative x plus 4. Dividing by a negative 1 just changes their signs. Now I've got y equals. So that means my function, which was f of x, the inverse for that function, the inverse of f, is negative x plus 4. So now let's look at number 9. So number 9, it says perform the indicated operation. So the operation we have is g of h of x, which is the same thing as writing g of h of x. So we're going to be using function composition. Let me just rewrite what they are so I have them closer. G of x is 4x plus 5, and h of x is x cubed minus 1. So we're going to plug in h of x into my g of x. So g of x cubed minus, x cubed minus 1, which is 4 times x cubed minus 1 plus 5. Distribute that 4. We get 4x cubed. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. 4 times, that's it, sorry. 4 times negative 1, that closes that out, and then we put that 5 on the end there. We get 4x cubed. Negative 4 plus 5 is plus 1. So for my composition of those two functions, I get 4x cubed plus 1. Move this down a little. And then last one we have is number 11. So we've got g plus f of negative 1. G of x is equal to negative 3x squared plus 2. And f of x is equal to x minus 3. So I'm going to add these two functions together, evaluated at negative 1, which is the same thing as saying g evaluated at negative 1 plus f evaluated at negative 1. So I'm going to start with g evaluated at negative 1. So negative 3 times negative 1 squared plus 2 is negative 3 times positive 1. We got negative 1 times negative 1. And then plus 2, which is negative 3 plus 2, which is negative 1. Then I'm going to take f of negative 1. So negative 1 minus 3, which is negative 4. And now I'm going to add them together. So g of negative 1 plus f of negative 1 equals negative 1 plus negative 4, which is the same thing as saying negative 1 minus 4, which is negative 5. So then for y'all to do today is the right side. So the entire right side here is your assignment. And then make sure you turn it in on Canvas. And I will see you, well, I won't see you tomorrow, but y'all will be testing tomorrow. So make sure that you log into Canvas before 4 o'clock tomorrow and allow yourself enough time to take that test because it does lock and I will not be able to open it for you. So doing the right side, we did the left side together. And then if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me.